Yapping.
Hello, this is Erika.
And Edgar.
And we are the Yapping Schnauzers. We entertain you with yap-worthy stories we find around the web. Today's theme is unseen consequences.
Our first story is, am I the asshole if I left my husband at the ER overnight? I, 29 female, and my husband, 31 male, were visiting his family in another state for a cousin's wedding. We've been married for 3 years, no kids yet. My husband likes to drink, and at the reception, he definitely overdid it, taking shots with his cousin, ignoring the facts. I asked him to slow down because we had to drive back to our Airbnb. Long story short, he ended up tripping over the curb outside the venue while we were waiting for our Uber and cut his forehead pretty badly. He was super drunk, so he didn't feel it, but he was also belligerent, cussing at the paramedics and refusing stitches. At the hospital, he kept yelling at nurses and trying to take off his IV, so security had to come in. They eventually sedated him so they could clean him up. At that point, it was already 2 a.m. and I was exhausted, embarrassed, and honestly mad. I asked the nurse if I could leave since they are admitting him overnight for observation, and she said yes. I called an Uber, went back to the Airbnb, showered, and went to bed. His mom and sister started blowing up my phone around 7 a.m., calling me heartless for leaving him alone, and saying I should have stayed in case something happened. He's fine now and just has a bandage on his forehead and a big hangover, but everyone's treating me like the villain. Am I the asshole for leaving him there overnight instead of staying with him in the hospital?
Yeah, I don't think she's the asshole. He completely ignored what she said to calm down with the drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And, they would have to go back to the Airbnb, and he continued to ignore her. And to the fact that he was so drunk, he literally couldn't stand by himself and hurt himself is just unacceptable.
Yeah, the OP's husband, or whoever he is, did this to himself, and it's not like the damages or like what he was hospitalized for was like fatal. So I don't really like see the side of the family who say, "Oh, you should have stayed. What if something happened?" I think he was fine on his own. He's like a big guy, and he could take care of himself. If this was something more serious, like he had some sort of terminal illness, maybe it makes sense for her to want to stay there overnight. But if it's something like, oh, he's just hungover, he has like a concussion or some sort of cut, like that's like something that's like livable. And as someone who's slept over a hospital, it's not really the most comfortable place. So I wouldn't want to be there if I didn't have to, which is what OP decided in this case.
I mean, yeah, she had to deal with him and the embarrassment she had to go through, seeing how he treated all the staff and the medical staff, actually. And then on top of that, she was exhausted, so I wouldn't blame her for leaving at all.
I know.
And then the top comment really is just, how did they find out? Did he call them playing the victim, not the asshole?
I know, exactly. He probably woke up like in a daze. He's like, oh my gosh, where am I? And they told him the whole rundown. And probably, the shock of like not having your wife next to you during those moments like probably got to him. But I mean, what did he expect from like just being dumb?
Yeah, he completely...
As a grown adult.
Exactly, he messed up. And I mean, right now he has no kids, no responsibility, I guess. So, I mean, but if he acts like this, what makes you think that he'll stop once he has kids? You know what I mean? I feel like people that are like this, it's especially as adult, like you're 31, like you're not a kid anymore. You should know your limits. You should know when to stop. And if you decide to have kids with him, I don't know if he'll stop. So you really have to think about it.
Yeah, good point. I mean, he probably did want someone to be there with him, but also like he's in a different like state. They have like an Airbnb and all that stuff, and it's just like I don't know. I don't see how he expects for his wife to be like there in that exact moment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't condemn having fun and drinking.
I do.
You're so funny.
No fun.
Yeah, no. I think it's fine having a good time, but it doesn't mean getting overly drunk and forgetting where you are or not able to stand up, or that's just, it's not necessary. You don't need to get that drunk to have fun.
I know. It's probably, we don't know the psyche of this guy, but I mean, to get blackout drunk when you have someone like that you're with who has to like take care of you. It's just like I feel like it speaks to a lack of like care about who I do have to be responsible for.
Yeah, and he should be the one taking care of her, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you want to continue taking care of him for the rest of your life, OP, I would say break up with him.
Yeah. So you think this is a break up worthy?
Yeah, it's so inexcusable. There's no reason to be 31 and doing that.
Yeah.
You don't think so?
I think it kind of depends how much you like the person, but I mean, also, Opie not being with his husband's side when he's like at the hospital overnight, it does kind of say something about her as well. Not that she's a bad person, but that she doesn't care about him that much.
I don't think so.
That or she's like a little bit too logical. It's like, oh, he's gonna be fine, so I don't have to be there.
I feel like it's just for him to learn his lesson, that this was not acceptable for him to be doing this, and she wanted him to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
That she's not going to be tolerating this if he continues.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. I don't think she didn't care, because if she didn't care, she wouldn't have taken him to the hospital. She wouldn't have stayed with him with all the drama when he was making all that fuzz. She stayed with him when she knew that he was okay and that he was sedated. So he should be fine.
Yeah. And then, do you feel like the parents are justified at all, like from how they're like acting at the situation?
No, they should butt out the relationship. They should butt out of the relationship, because it's their situation right now. Just because she wasn't there overnight doesn't mean that she doesn't care. She just wanted him to teach him a lesson.
Yeah, among other things. But I mean, they are painting her currently as the bad guy. So I imagine like it's like a mixture of like just like their beliefs of like, oh, you should be there like by your like partner's side no matter what. But maybe also OP's like husband probably says something to make the situation worse.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I just wouldn't tolerate that behavior. I would not be happy with my husband. And if they want to pamper him or, make it okay for him to continue doing that, then that's on them. But that would not be me.
Yeah.
It's just unexcusable.
So, final verdict?
I would say she's not the asshole. She did what she had to do. And hopefully he learned his lesson and never do that again. And she really has to think about it. If he does this one more time, then I would say, OP, count your blessings and leave that man. I mean, you don't want to be with someone that you have to take care of them all the rest of your life like this. Like, it's exhausting. And it seems like he has some type of aggression too. Like, when he treated the medical staff, if he's overly drunk and stuff like that. You don't know. Maybe it'll be her next. So.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So the next story is, my entire life was a lie, and I'm going to confront my mother. I'm 26 now. Growing up, I was always told my father abandoned me when I was 5. My mother said he wanted nothing to do with me, that he was drunk, a bum, and that he never paid a cent in my child support. Well, 21 years later, I finally reached out to him. Turns out, he did try to contact my mom a few times, but could never get through. And the biggest shock? He actually paid child support until I turned 18. I even verified it myself with local child support office. They confirmed he paid the entire time. That adds up to $60,000 that I never saw. Meanwhile, I spent my childhood couch surfing with my mother while she bounced from guy to guy for support. She never had a job. I paid the bills, took care of myself, and looked after my younger brother too. There's so much more I could say, but I'm honestly overwhelmed. I'm confronting her tomorrow, and I don't even know where to start. I feel like half of my life has been stolen from me, and I'm stuck with so many what ifs. If anyone's been through something like this or has any advice, I really appreciate it. And there's a little small update. It says, I'm not worried about getting any money. I'm more upset that she got some each month and never used it on me. Plus, he was active in paying it for 13 years, and my mother told me that he didn't.
Yeah, so obviously the mother is at a big fault with this because it seems like she was never responsible or even like a good like mother during this period of time. Like just couch serving, having her children like kind of experience and just like be there when he's like just going from guy to guy, like just to get that, just have that kind of exposure. I imagine it's damaging for like both children's psyches.
Yeah.
And then finally, like just saying, "Oh, your original dad was like a deadbeat when he wasn't." Like I don't know, like what he's doing now, but like he was trying to at least support them financially when most people don't even like care or even try like that. I can see like how OP is like so messed up over the situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that he tried to contact her and he was denied.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that he didn't want a relationship with her, it's just that her mother didn't allow it. And it's so frustrating because meanwhile she had to take care of herself and her sibling
Yeah.
when she just continued to sleep or whatever, be with other men. It's like I always say, some people should never be parents.
And then those people usually have like 10 to 20 children.
I know, it's insane.
That's crazy to me. But also, it just doesn't really make sense why, like from my perspective, it just makes sense why the mother would forbid the father from like wanting to at least like contact like the children, other than just she just doesn't like him like that much, like enough to like be at a detriment at her of her children.
I feel like if you really look into it, my guess is that she didn't want her children having contact with him because they would probably tell him that she's, being with another guy and that didn't feel comfortable in that home. So he would want to get full custody, and then all that money he was giving will be non-existent. So she didn't want the child support to stop that he was giving for 13 years. So she wanted to cut that support, but keep the money.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, actually.
That's my guess. Yeah. So she was, like I said, she didn't have a job. The poor daughter had to pay the bills on top of the money that she apparently wasn't receiving. So she's just such a liar. Terrible mother. So the top comment is, dude, I just feel bad. I don't know what to say, but you were strong throughout, and I know you will be strong going forward. So, I mean, it's that type of childhood where it's difficult for you to really go through or rise above. You need a lot of, I would say therapy, but a lot of people don't choose that option, but a lot of inner strength to go through something like that and be, a better version of yourself and not be like your mom.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's like an inner strength thing, but I think the one good thing that came out of this is that she has like the grit and tenacity to just just basically survive no matter what.
Yeah.
And it can only, like, for her, life can only really go up unless she like messes up as bad as her mother did.
Yeah, I mean, she it doesn't matter what card she was dealt, she still did the best she could.
Yeah. Do you think this is like breakup worthy between like the OP and her mother's relationship?
I mean, she will always be her mother. Now, if she wants to have a deep relationship, it's up to her. Yeah. You could always have a relationship with people that have hurt you. However, you have the option to put a restriction or have, okay, that's too much for me, then this is how far our relationship goes. And that's it. An invisible line with her mom. Because, I mean, if she was toxic then, I don't think...
Just stop now, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how she'll react with the mother when she finds out that OP knows like the whole truth.
I feel like she's going to lie. I feel like she's going to be like, no, that's a lie. And then she's going to show the proof and still she'll lie, saying that that's not true.
Yeah.
She'll die on that hill.
The most likely outcome. So if OP was in the room with us now, what would you tell her, like as parting words / just what is our final verdict?
I would say, OP, you can always try to comfort her, but regardless of what happened in the past, you can still continue doing your best. Of course, those years you will never get back, but you are who you are today for the hardships you faced, and that you can just continue being resilient. Don't let this stop you, and your choice to have that relationship with your mom is up to you.
And I just say forgive but never forget.
I don't. So actually, I had somebody tell me that the other day, but honestly, it really hurts you because if you forgive, but you don't forget, you're always going to have that in the back of your mind and it's going to hurt you. It's not going to hurt the other person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more beneficial for you to forget and forgive. So the person hurt you, all right, and then forget about it. Because I'm not saying because you forgot, you're going to let that person hurt you again. But you want your inner peace and you want to not have that in the back of your head or reminder of what that person did. So just let it go completely. Because that way your inner self is going to be rid of that. And if that person wants to hold that against you, then so be it. But for you, you're a clean slate and you're done.
I would disagree because imagine I get hit by a car. I'm gonna forgive the car, but I'm not gonna forget how hard that hurts. And I'm gonna always remember that, and I'm gonna take that with me. And it's not gonna be a huge weight on me. But
yes, it is because you're never gonna forget it.
Yeah, I'm gonna never forget it, so I can always avoid it. That's like a part of my pattern recognition I added to the database that is my mind.
That doesn't mean that you're going to allow that person to hurt you again just because you're going to forget it. You're just not going to let that affect you because that takes a lot of work for you to forgive and forget.
Not really.
Yes,
but
it does.
Again, I'm built different.
So you say, but
it's like a single neuron in my head to do all that processing.
It's not just processing intellectually, it's also emotional.
Mm-hmm.
So you just don't work about it intellectually, but you also have to work it with your emotions, which a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah.
So it's really a lot of inner work there. You can't just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to forgive, but I'm never going to forget. It's just, you're always going to hold on to that. You're never going to let it go regardless of what you're saying. It's always going to be there. And if you want to continue carrying that on your back and on your memory and on your heart, then it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to continue hurting you. So that's the way I see it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the final verdict?
Yeah, so final verdict on the story as a whole, I would say just to keep moving forward then, as well as forgive, but never forget.
I would say and forget. You just want to be happy.
Okay, the next story is titled, Am I the Asshole for Pulling My Daughter from Soccer Camp and Telling Her That She Can't See Her Ghetto Friends Anymore? So, my daughter is in soccer camp twice a week since the beginning of summer. She is 15. She has made 2 new friends and I do not like them. They have been over my house once and they were rude, loud, and obnoxious. So the typical teen. They made a mess of the house, gave me attitude when I asked them to quiet down. One rolled her eyes and started arguing with me, and they were blasting music, and money went missing. OMG. That's crazy. Yes. And her evidence for her money going missing was that she said, I had $40 on the counter and it disappeared. So I'm not the biggest fans of them. And after that, I didn't allow them to hang out at our house. My daughter was not a fan of this, but still saw them at soccer camp. The soccer camp is next to a plaza, and they allow the kids to get food from the fast food places. I got a call from the coach that my daughter and her 2 friends caused issues at Arby's. Bro, Arby's of all places. This is not fitting well to this friend group. Yeah, she recorded it on her phone. Her 2 friends were heckling the fast food workers and left after causing a mess, dumped the drinks all over the ground, and flipped off the worker. My daughter was recording this and laughing along. To be honest, I found it disgusting. I informed her that she's being pulled out of soccer camp because she can't behave by herself and that she won't be seeing those friends anymore. She was very unhappy and started an argument. She told me I don't like them because they are ghetto, and I told her, yep, she is correct. They are too ghetto, too loud, too rude, too respectful, too many twos, and I am now allowing her... I am not allowing her near them. She hasn't talked to me since, and I shared this with my sisters, and she basically told me I forgot my roots and to let her see the friends.
Girl, please.
Bro. you gotta take out those roots.
Continue.
You gotta get a weed whacker. But yeah, there is one more edit for this. So for more context, I grew up in a horrible neighborhood, and yeah, that kind of behavior was common where I grew up. Yes, I do find that behavior ghetto as hell. Also, I am black. My daughter's mixed. She thinks it is super ghetto. So, am I the asshole?
No, girl, you're parenting. You're doing the right thing. Even if you grew up in that type of environment, doesn't mean that you want your daughter to, be in that type of environment or have friends like that. Mm-hmm. So, the sister telling her to don't forget your roots has
like some roots. Yeah, some roots should be forgotten.
Exactly. So no, I would say you're doing the right thing. You're not the asshole. You're parenting.
Exactly, and it's like so easy to like have your kids be in like the wrong friend group, and then stuff like this happens. And like right now, it's just an Arby's, but maybe in the future, it's like a bank
or shoplifting or fights or drugs or whatever it is. You can't just let her hang out with anybody she wants, because friends actually do shape you. Mm-hmm. Friends either can make you better or can really take you in a wrong turn.
Yeah. So I remember hearing this quote where it's like, you are the sum of the 5 people you most hang out with. So for me, it's me and my 5 mirrors. I think I'm turning up pretty well, actually.
I can't. I thought you were gonna say me and other people. You're such something. You really got me in that one. That is hilarious.
Why would I lie?
Oh my gosh.
Oh. But yeah, exactly in this case. Like currently, she's like, if OP's daughter kept at this, it's not gonna shape her out to be a better person. It'll be like detrimental to her character and like honestly her future.
Sorry, that was too funny. So the top comment is not the asshole. You're doing what is called parenting. Exactly. It's what you're supposed to do. If your daughter cannot control herself around these girls, then she shouldn't be hanging out with them. Keep up the good job.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, currently the daughter is probably not appreciating this at all, but
of course not. She's probably pissed.
Pissed as hell. Mm-hmm. But hopefully in the future she learns that this was like for the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. She'll probably see these chicks that she's hanging out with like in 10, 20 years. Maybe like with multiple like babies from different fathers or
jail
or even dead. And she'll be like, yeah,
unfortunately.
Good thing my mom told me not to hang out with them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, she's not doing the wrong thing at all. The sister needs a wake up call. Maybe because it's not her daughter, she doesn't see it, you know. But definitely not. I don't think she's the asshole. She's doing the best she can, and that's it. I think she did good.
But even if it isn't your daughter, like as a nephew or niece, you want like them to be steered toward the correct direction. And like the sister sees this, like, oh, this is just our culture. Like, no, the culture is bad then.
Yeah, I mean, you don't
want them to be like going like, because these people are like just hoodlums. And you don't want your family, you don't want people that you actually care about to go down that route and like just get in trouble and just make, because that worsens their life and also worsens the family's life, because then they're all then that one hoodlum is a burden to the rest of them.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to really think it through. Mm-hmm. This could be just like you mentioned earlier, a small mistake, but it can grow bigger, and it's better to cut it right now than have more dire consequences in the future.
Exactly. So, final verdict?
I'm not the asshole, Mama. You're doing the right thing.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, so the next story is, am I the asshole for taking back my tip after the waitress humiliated me in front of everyone? All right, this occurred a few nights ago, and I just can't believe it happened the way that it did. My partner, 29 female, and I, 32 male, dined out at this Italian restaurant. We've been to several times. It's not highly sophisticated, but pleasant enough that you get to sit down, order wine, and have a relaxed evening. Our server, let's name her Samantha, was kind of faced throughout. She lost my drink twice, served the wrong starter, and vanished for what seemed like an eternity when it arrived time to order dessert. It wasn't the end of the world. I worked customer service myself, and I get that hectic nights go wild. However, service was really poor. When the check came, I paid and left a 10% cash tip. Not excessive, but not nothing either. I thought it was reasonable given their circumstances. We were just standing up to leave when Samantha came over, took the cash, and said, "Seriously? This is it?" She had said it audibly. A few people at some nearby tables turned around and stared. I was taken aback. I didn't even know what to say first. Then she added, "You know servers can't pay their rent because people like you. If you can't tip properly, don't dine out." The restaurant became totally silent. Like a sitcom silence, my girlfriend was wincing. I just remained calm and said, "Okay, sorry you feel that way," and started to leave. Then, no kidding, she murdered whatever cheapskates, but loudly enough that it was not only for us. So I went back over, walked over the table, took the tip, and left without another word. My girlfriend later informed me that I did fine with it, but one of my friends feels like I had overstepped by insisting on getting the tip back, that no matter what, you just leave it and move on. I feel like to be scolded and humiliated on account of a 10% tip I actually did leave is a way out of bounds. So Reddit, am I the asshole for retrieving the tip after she yelled at us in front of everyone in the restaurant?
Not at all. That chick deserved 0%. Yeah, she actually deserved to have paid them for her services. So yeah, she's just being overblown and basically greedy for terrible service.
Yeah, I mean, when we go out, we always tip good. I just think sometimes when servers like literally ignore us, don't even ask for anything if we need anything, we would have to like look for them, call, get help from other servers. You know, that's just negligence. I mean, if you're trying to do a good job and get a good tip, you gotta do good service. I mean, I understand that there's a lot of people, or if it's full, I get it. But you know, you get what you give, and if you're not doing good with your servings, well, with serving, then you can't expect a great tip.
Exactly. Like this chick gave like the bare minimum and wanted to get paid like $20-$40 for like a few seconds of work. So I think she's like the server is very like just I wouldn't like her at all. And for her to say that, I feel like they should fire her.
I would have done what he done. I would have, no, actually, no, I would have not taken the tip back. I would
have taken a tip and then would have said something to the manager probably.
I would have said something to the manager.
It's very inappropriate.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken a tip, but I would have said something to the manager.
Yeah, because like this not only like right now OP is definitely not coming back to the restaurant, but worst case as well, everyone else who heard the altercation wouldn't want to come back either. So like this employee, this waitress is like a liability for that restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, and you could also, OP could have gone to all the restaurants, you know, commenting and, you know, saying this would happen with the server and I felt completely unfair. And, you know, it could just, with something like that, it could go big. You know, a lot of people read, for example, for us, when we go to a new restaurant, we always read the comments or we always see the stars and we always see, you know, is this a good place to eat, relaxing, whatever, good service. If I see comments like that, I'll be like, maybe we shouldn't go eat somewhere else. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, it really depends. But yeah, with reviews for a lot of restaurants, the owners and whoever manages it tends to want to have it like as high as possible, and they try to do right when it is low or when there's a 1-star or 2-star review.
Yeah,
it really affects them because.
A lot of people don't comment either. You see like 5 comments and you have 1 review, like it literally takes out a lot.
I know, yeah. It really tanks it.
So the top comment is, not the asshole. She expected and then demanded a good tip for a crappy job. You were nice enough to leave her something, but she wanted to be ungrateful. And I mean, I don't know, is tipping required here?
No. You don't have to tip.
I feel like depending on the restaurant too, they already take it out in their service.
Yeah, some of the restaurants we've been to, they automatically take 20% tip, which is, I always thought like 20% tip was like way too large, but now it's like the standard. Because growing up, I definitely remember it being 15%, because I used to calculate it all the time for my family.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, it's just a simple math trick, but
Yeah, I definitely think that too. But I mean, the living cost now it's insane. So I get it why it went to 20%.
Yeah, you can also get a real job.
Well, a lot of people have when they do serving. That's not the only job. A lot of people have 3 jobs or 2 jobs or have the serving job as a side job. So it's not,
Yeah, just excuse the background noise if you can hear it. I might have filtered it out, but yeah, it's raining and
it's gonna be thundering too.
a
So
it's gonna be ambient, guys. See,
But
ultimately, yeah, the at least when it's good service and you have the funds and means to do it, I do like tipping like our servers. You know, we have like a few people we always like tip a lot because like we're not like best friends, but like when we go there, that's like a good experience and they make it welcoming for
yes,
us.
and they know us, or they're like, "How you doing? It's good to see you." And like, it's just you have really good people that know how to do customer service that deserve that tip.
Yeah, exactly. Like I wouldn't mind giving them 20-25% tip.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. What's the final verdict?
Yeah, final verdict. OP was not on the wrong. Like this is like negative like levels of customer service, and that wages is of like nothing
Yeah.
at most.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what restaurant it was, but I honestly think that he was not in the wrong. There was no need to humiliate your customer, especially if you did a crappy job. Like, come on.
Exactly. You're just telling yourself. So our next story is I went to the wrong funeral and I stayed, and now her grandma sends me birthday cards. I was in a new city. A weekend, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. Hey, the service is at 3. Wear something dark. She hated bright colors. I know you didn't know her well, but it would mean a lot if you came. And I stared at it, and I wasn't sure who it was meant for, but it felt urgent. Like maybe they really needed someone there, and I had nothing else to do. So I went. I pulled up to the church a few minutes early, sat in the back. No one questioned me, and I figured maybe it was a distant coworker or a college friend. I kept waiting for someone to say, "Wait, who are you?" But they didn't. The woman who had passed her name was Marion, had the kindest smile I've ever seen. I learned about her love for jazz, her cat named Newton, and how she never let anyone leave her house without taking a cookie. And I sat through every eulogy like I'd known her forever. Afterwards, during the gathering, her grandma approached me. "You were her friend from art class, weren't you?" she asked, and I froze. No, I think I got the wrong text. And she laughed, actually laughed. "So you're just here? For a stranger?" I nodded. Didn't want her to have an empty room. And she grabbed my hand and said, "Then you're exactly the kind of person she would have liked." And we sat together for hours, talking about Marion, about grief, about weird coincidences. And before I left, her grandma gave me a small velvet pouch. "Take this," she said. "Marion would have insisted you didn't leave empty-handed." Well, it should have been a cookie. Oh, inside was a single sugar cookie shaped like a heart. A year later, her grandmother still sends me a birthday card, always with a cookie recipe inside. And I send her a handwritten thank you every time. I don't know why I went that day, but I'm glad I did. Sometimes the wrong funeral is exactly where you're meant to be. Am I the asshole?
No, it's not. You're something else.
LOL.
It is not Emma the asshole story. It's just just one of the stories.
Yeah, I guess you wanted to end this section of our show on a good note. But yeah, I think it's a cute story.
It is.
I wonder who sent the text though.
I think it was her, the grandma,
Marion?
but yeah,
Oh.
but she thought it was one of her friends and probably got the phone number wrong.
Oh, I see.
But that's so sweet. The fact that she stayed there and listened to every single eulogy is amazing, and the little recipe and the cookie was so like heartwarming. Yeah, so I think OP is an amazing human being. That's what pretty much the top comment is.
The final verdict on this.
I think she's a good human. I think she's a good human being, and people should be like this more often.
Yeah, agreed. For our final section, we're gonna be going rapid fire through multiple mini stories, and we're just gonna read it and then give our quick opinions and then go to the next one. So all these stories center around the thread titled, "What's the most terrifying, unexplainable encounter you've had with a stranger that still haunts you?" The first story is, my first time in Mexico City. I didn't realize what a bad neighborhood my hotel was in. I had just stepped out of the hotel, and three men noticed me and started walking right over to me really fast and surrounded me on three sides. I literally jumped into what turned out to be a tiny bookstore because I sensed I was about to get grabbed. The only people working in there were two young girls, maybe 8 and 9. One of the guys followed me and stayed right next to me, blocking my exit. And then, as if by magic, a door I hadn't even noticed in the back of the store opened, and an adult male, probably the girl's dad's, emerged. The man left the store, and after lingering a few more minutes and buying some books out of gratitude for him, probably saving my life, I went back to the hotel.
That was a close one, right?
Exactly, yeah. I like how she or he had to have three big guys surrounding her or him in order for them to be like, oh, I'm in danger.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just never know. I mean, they came out of nowhere. It's not like she planned it, but she had good thinking and went into a bookstore.
Yeah, it's like pretty lucky that the store owner was there when he was.
I think when she said that he wasn't there, he only saw two girls. Maybe he had like a camera. He watches his girls, and he saw that there was this random guy there.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not. I know it's not their fault, but like they went into a bookstore and it had like just two children there. Like he put their lives on danger too.
Yeah, I'm sure he didn't go far. You know, maybe he could just step down, use the bathroom or something. But you never know. So I'm glad he just came back on time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, like for OP.
Oh yes, yeah. She was definitely lucky. She was able to go in there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she definitely always follow your instinct and your gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the next story is, walking home late one night in a large town. Not a soul was out. No cars either. I heard feet running from directly behind me, quickly and quietly. My instincts took over and I turned around and talked to the guy as if I knew him. I giggled and told him he scared the shit out of me. I think I caught him off guard because he stopped running and looked confused. He started chatting with me, obviously was on drugs, and told me he was a carny in town for a fair. I bummed a cigarette off of me and left. Pretty sure he had something unpleasant planned for me, but surprised him with my lack of fear.
Yeah, that's like a good survival technique. I heard that like when you feel like a bad vibe from somebody, like and they're coming your way, usually like giving them direct eye contact, like kind of humanizes you to them. So then they just like get intimidated or they just look for someone else because they're hoping you don't notice them. That you just like that they can surprise attack you like this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Even if you get kidnapped, it's always important to make yourself human. You know, that's the main thing to do. So
I shouldn't talk to.
What do you mean? Oh yeah, because you and your you will get yourself in trouble.
Me and my opinions, my mannerisms, which is they would have no sympathy.
Yeah, you'll probably be dead within seconds.
R.I.P. So the next story is, I was walking my dog at 2 a.m. after work. I walked outside the gated community, and this huge man covered in tattoos and only wearing jean shorts walked up to me. I started crying because I was scared, but he started apologizing for scaring me. Turns out he was walking his dog off leash and wanted to warn me about walking alone in a gang area. He lived in the same apartment community as I do. His wife and him always made sure I made it home because I was working nights. So yeah, nice person, yeah, to meet.
Yeah, but you know, she judged him by his appearance because he was a huge man with tattoos, but instead he was actually trying to, you know, protect her and warn her.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, she was very, very lucky.
Definitely. So the next story is, I used to hitchhike on occasion around city when I was a teenager. Mostly things went okay, but the last time I caught a ride, I hardly even looked at the guy driving and just got in. Thinking about what I was going to do when I got home, I told him to drive straight down the street for half a mile, but then he made a turn that took us away from the street I lived on. He was going into an industrial area, and I realized this was not good. It occurred to me to find somebody on the street, anybody, and wave to them. They would see me in the truck with this guy, and it could come back to haunt him if he did anything bad. So I saw a teenager who was probably just a year or two older than me, and I waved and smiled and waved some more. I laughed and said, "Oh no, that was my brother. Now he's going to be asking who I was with in the truck." The guy's demeanor changed immediately. He looked deflated. All his original cockiness was gone. I told him to go down a few more blocks and drop me off. So nothing happened except that I never ever hitchhiked again. It wasn't until much later that I realized how very lucky I had been to get away with what I did. Thankfully, I never saw him again.
Yeah, very lucky in that regard. And also, hitchhiking, I believe was like very popular like decades and decades ago, but
Yeah.
now like you just really can't trust anybody. I mean, even
No.
before then, you couldn't trust them, and I imagine a lot of the missing people cases were due to hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that we had less social media, less ways to communicate everything. That's why a lot of people didn't realize that hitchhiking was actually not, a very popular thing people should do.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was quick thinking, like lying on the spot like that.
Thank God there was a stranger there. Imagine that, like, the whole street, everything was isolated and there was nobody there. She would have been screwed.
Exactly. But adding more to the story, don't let your kids use Uber.
Oh, Uber?
Yeah.
Well, no, she was hitchhiking.
Well, that too.
You should never hitchhike, but I mean, I feel bad you could barely see any hitchhikers now, but I see them randomly here and there. But I would never pick anybody up.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we're not in that type of world right now.
Yeah. And then the final story is, I went camping with a few friends at a national seashore when there was nobody around for miles. I had an old Coleman Dome tent that was all mesh on top and used the rain fly for coverage and privacy. We decided to leave it off due to it being a nice night. In the morning, I was looking around at all the animal tracks like crabs, etc., when I came across two large men's footprints in the sand right next to the tent on the back sides by the dunes. Like an inch or two away. He must have been standing almost touching the tent, looking down at us through the top while we slept. We had no idea. Still creeps me out. Yeah, this could have been either way. Like, it could have just been a stranger like, oh, what the hell? And then they just saw it and then walked away. Or it could have been like someone lingering there for hours.
And just watching you sleep. Like, there's no reason for you to be watching anybody sleep. It doesn't matter. Maybe
Unless it's lovingly.
No, like, okay, maybe if you thought they were dead or something, like if you see people just laying in, but still, like, you should just stay away from that situation. You don't want to be near people like that. That's weird.
Also, you don't want to sleep outside in public.
No, I remember when Chelsea wanted to do camping, and I was always iffy because you just never know.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of being not in an air conditioned and safe and bug-free bed.
I just think about the safety because it's not very safety at all. No safe outcomes. You never know. You just take it to chance.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all the stories we have today. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Check out our website, www.yappings.com, and join our mail list for updates. If you love our podcast and want to support us, subscribe and share with your friends and family. We would appreciate it so much.
Also, we have a Facebook group called AITA-Relationship and Family Drama, linked in the description. Join so you can share and might ask what posts you like, or share your own stories for us all to judge. We may even read a few posts in one of our episodes.
Thank you. Bye.